give the floor to the coordinators. So welcome to Patricia Big, our facilitator, who's going to take the floor. And we're very happy to have this presentation that starts with these webinars, and then we will have the opportunity to meet in person. So we are going to start with session number 1, and certainly the webinars will help you get prepared for the in-person training. And you're going to meet our facilitator. So thank you very much. Congratulations, and I wish you a very good session.
Merci, Susan. Hello, everyone. So first of all, now we will give and Emily, no? You want to give
Oui,
slide?
juste
Okay.
très rapidement, on va vous demander si vous pouvez indiquer votre prénom, nom et organisation, si vous pouvez vous renommer. On va passer quelques...
Could you please just rename your profile? So put your name and surname and organization. And we have a simultaneous translation both during the webinars and during our in-person training. So please keep your microphone switched off and switch them on only when you want to ask a question or if you need to say something. So please also use the chat to interact with us. So have a great session, everybody.
So good afternoon, everyone. So welcome to this first session for the restoration training on Mediterranean marine protected areas. So this is organized by MedPan in collaboration with IUCN Mediterranean on the Rest Coast project. I'm Patricia Puig from Oceanogami, a marine environmental consultancy company, and I'm supporting the development of this training. So I hope you enjoy and you learn a lot. We will see each other on these 4 virtual sessions, 2 hours each, and later in the in-person training in Cabo de Gata. So looking forward to meeting you in person as well. So today we will be setting the foundation for our training, exploring why restoration is needed, and how ecological policy and local perspectives come together across the Mediterranean to strengthen restoration practices. And here you have the agenda overview. So we're saying this is the 2 hours each, and then we will have the next session will be restoration techniques and case studies. That will be in 2 weeks. And the next week will be monitoring and evaluation frameworks. And the last week will be strategic planning and funding. And in-person training, we will have first day on governance and stakeholders, second day restoration techniques field day, third day monitoring evaluation, fourth day action planning and funding. You will have the final agenda very soon. You have already a draft agenda, so we will just finalize in a few things, particularly for the field training. So let's continue. And then I will show the agenda for today. And for the day 1, this is the flow for today. After this short introduction that we had, we will hear from our guest speakers. So first of all, we'll have Remy Simid, who will set the ecological foundations, and then Carol Martinez, who will present the Mediterranean policy context. After, we will have this Q&A, so we will have time to ask questions and have some discussion about these two talks. And we will open the floor to 4 participants who will share why restoration matters in their marine protected areas. And we will close with a reflection. Also, we are looking forward to hear about all your marine protected areas, your challenges that you are facing, and if you have started some restoration projects. So we will have the chance to start to talk about this. So before we start, I would like to share the main learning objectives for today's virtual session. The first session is about building a common foundation. So we will explore why restoration is needed from an ecological and policy perspective. and identify the key Mediterranean habitats where restoration efforts are most relevant. We will also touch on how to recognize when restoration is appropriate, what kind of baseline information we need, how European and Mediterranean and regional frameworks will guide our work. And finally, through the participant sharing later today, you will have the opportunity to reflect on your own motivations and challenges in restoration and learn from others across the Mediterranean scale. So let's continue. And then before I introduce our next speaker, so let's go back to the core question, no? Why we should restore? No? That's the main question, I would say. And this is driven by ecological degradation, social dependence on these healthy marine ecosystems, and the growing policy commitments. Remy will now expand on these ecological aspects, the science behind the need to restore, and the tools that can be used to prioritize these actions. So Remy, and yes, I will introduce him a little bit, the next slide. So he is a researcher at the Institute of Oceanographic Paul Richer, and he will share insights on ecological rationale for restoration. So over to you, Remy.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Please, can
I share my screen?
No, it's not needed. We put the slides there, so if that's okay for you.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
So it's a bit more
Good.
fluid.
Okay, perfect. So thank you very much. Thank you all of you for joining us today. So I will speak broadly about what we mean when we speak about restoration. First of all, and maybe the most important one, we always have to keep in our mind that we live in a socio-ecosystem context. Okay, we need what nature provides us. The ecosystem function and ecological processes deliver to us the flow of ecosystem services, which are the cultural services, the regulating services, and the provisioning services we need for our societies. We also use nature for our inspiration through nature-inspired solutions. We also use nature for energy with renewable energy. But we also work with nature for what we call now nature-based solution, a term developed by the IUCN and released in 2016, which gathers sustainable and holistic management measures such as sustainable protection, sustainable restoration, and other sustainable management measures. And I will speak about today about restoration. Next slide, please. So if you came from a marine protected area, you are well aware about the MPA guide published by Grorud Colver and collaborator in 2021 in Science, which described marine protected area, let's say, effectiveness or management in terms of 4 categories, from minimally to fully protected area. So you have an example of a reference native ecosystem in the past and what happened in the present, so with a very degraded ecosystem. And obviously, when you have a fully to minimally protected area, you will not be able to produce the same amounts of ecological effectiveness at the end. It's exactly the same thing for restoration. When we speak about restoration, there is so many different things inside. So now you know that we are in the middle of the United Nations Decade of Ecosystem Restoration, starting 2021. And after, let's say, a few years, this UN Decade are now have a framework really close to the one developed years ago by the Society for Ecological Restoration. We can simplify in 5 different categories we published in 2024. So there is the passive ecosystem restoration, meaning that all you have to do is to halt all the pressures which were the one responsible for the degradation of the reference native ecosystem. Meaning that you just give the opportunity of the ecosystem or the ecosystems to be resilient by themselves and so restore naturally. Active ecosystem restoration, meaning doing the same thing, halting the pressures, then helping ecosystem to recover more easily or more quickly by adding some features or doing transplantation or some action like that by actively helping nature. Partial ecosystem restoration, meaning falling short for a fully restoration measure, passive or active. It's not mean that it's bad. It just means that sometimes you cannot go further. It's really rare an ecosystem, an area when you can completely restore, let's say, the pristine or the reference native ecosystem. But to be able to move a little bit forward in the term of partial ecosystem restoration to the fully ecosystem restoration, it's really important to put a very clear monitoring framework during the design of your restoration activities to be able to adapt your solution, because ecosystem not always react as you can imagine. It's sometimes there is some species we will camp that you are not expected to. Some other times your ecosystem cannot respond as fast as you can, as you want it, as you planned. So maybe you need to adapt a little bit your solution, and you can do that if you have a clear framework at the designing step of your action. Then you have the rehabilitation. Rehabilitation means that you're just looking for adding some ecological functions in your ecosystems, such as regaining the fish nursery potential of an area. The most developed example possible, it's the artificial reef. Artificial reef, by definition, it's not a natural ecosystem. It looks like, let's say, a rocky shore ecosystem, and it's almost always put in another area, in a sand, in a former seagrass meadow and something like that. So you're just looking for adding some functions. It's really relevant when your ecosystem is too degraded to be restored in another way. And then the final restorative activities we can list is the creation of an ecosystem, meaning that you will shift from an ecosystem to another. You have two different options for doing that you need to follow. The first is that you can do it if you cannot get back the former ecosystem. As an example, if you now have brackish water in an area where previously you have only fresh water, obviously you cannot get back a river, so you can have a salt marsh, for example. But you can put your salt marsh, if I follow this example, only if there is not a productive ecosystem in that area. If I switch from another example, you cannot add a forest in a productive grassland area. Next slide, please. I will now give you one example of each based on a single ecosystem. So the example is in a French lagoon, Mediterranean lagoon, where there was a seagrass meadow of Cimolocea nodosa in the early 20s, which disappeared almost completely. Next slide, please. And next again. And so, okay, never mind. And so we lost a very productive area and a huge nursery, especially for fish. So we developed different activities. First, the passive restoration activities, meaning that we discover that the sediments shift from rich sediments in organic and mineral matter to poor sediments due to beach enrichment. So we halt the beaches enrichment, and we also add a lot of management measures regulating the access, for example, of this lagoon. Next slide, please. Then we also created an ecosystem nearby by reopening to the sea a former salt marsh and just reopening this area to the sea. So we gain a new seagrass meadow in this lagoon-like ecosystem, let's say. Next slide, please. We also have an active restoration measure by transplanting Cimodocea nodosa meadow in the middle of the lagoon. And next slide, please. And we also add artificial reef in two different places. First, in natural area in the middle of the lagoon, and second, in an exploited area, an harbor. Next slide, please. Why I show you that? It's because each different measure have some specific benefits. As an example, the artificial reef, the small artificial reef, the rehabilitation measure, produce ecological function rapidly. Let's say in few days, you have some fish, you have some organism inside. In the natural ecosystem, by the passive restoration, it takes years before to see some seagrass recolonizing this place. So the dynamic is completely different. And it's also tricky to engage stakeholders in a restorative activity and told them, it's the same thing for the founder, and told them it will take maybe a decade to see the results. People, founders and general public and local stakeholders want to see something. And the worst part of the coin for this is also to say people like to do something. If you just add pressure, for many people, it means you do nothing, even if it's almost always the most relevant thing to do. Sometimes it could be good to also add some, let's say, transplantation or small artificial reef really near to the shore to see the general public, to see to the founder that, let's say, something is going on. It's not maybe the best way to think about restoration, but it's a good way to engage people on it and have the time after that to let them know why halting the pressure is also fundamental, is really important to do. Next slide, please. So if I give you an example about why should we care about restoration? Does it matter to spend money, to make some effort for restoration? Have a human perspective. Let's say I want to save us from climate change. So I have a lot of money and I want to spend it for climate mitigation. So what can I do? Okay, I will see the blue carbon ecosystem who can provide a very huge amount of long-term carbon sequestration potential compared to the terrestrial forest. Let's move to the next slide, please. So if we see this picture, each year we release 10 petagram of carbon per year in the atmosphere. And this blue carbon ecosystem can save only 0.1 petagram of carbon per year. Next slide, please. So do you think 1% matter? Because we are all really aware about restorative activity for climate change mitigation. Next slide, please. If we put that on the perspective of the COVID crisis, when we halt the shipping, when we halt factories, when we halt to use car and so on, we only reduce our carbon emission around 5 to 6%. So looking at that, 1% really matter, right? Let's move to the next slide, please. And if we see the other face of the same coin, we also degraded lots ecosystem. Why we speak about using nature for climate change mitigation? It's because we want to work with nature for its potential to sequester carbon in the long term. Because if it sequesters carbon for days or for months, it means nothing in terms of carbon sequestration, right? So if these ecosystems are able to help us to store carbon, it means that it already stored carbon since millennia or hundreds of years, which means that if we degraded this ecosystem, we put at risk a lot of carbon, of erosion, and so to release carbon. Let's move to the next slide, please. Next one, and next one again. Oh, next one, sorry. So next. This one, sorry. No, previous one. Sorry about that. So if we see now what we destroy each year of this blue carbon ecosystem, we destroy, and I transfer it in terms of long-term sequestered carbon that we put at risk of erosion each year. It's 0.3 for the seagrass meadow, 0.2 for mangrove, and almost 0.1 for salt marsh. Meaning that we get our 5 to 6% of carbon risk at erosion each year. So, okay, saving, restoring ecosystem is really important, but it's also really important to save them from erosion. Meaning that if we destroy one, we need to do something to keep our carbon here. And what is the best way to do that? It's by restoring our former ecosystem, right? Move to the next one, please. So one basic and clear example with Posidonia oceanica in the Mediterranean Sea. And next one also. So all what I say depend of the species you consider, the health status of the species, and the specificity in terms of abiotic, biotic, and human activities in an area. For Posidonia oceanica, one example, it's a very slow grow rate species, few centimeters per year, even few millimeters in terms of vertical progression. So let's say proxy of carbon sequestration. At the opposite, the destruction potential of this species is immediate. One big anchor in Posidonia, you can have them destroy forever. So the risk of erosion is high. Don't see Posidonia meadow as a seagrass. Please see Posidonia meadow as a forest, because the dynamic of this species is really low. So when you destroy it for a very long time. So when we speak about restoration of Posidonia, let's say that active restoration could be a question because of this very slow grow rate. So you need to have a very, very specific interest to do active restoration of Posidonia. Please, what is working well for Posidonia is to protect them from another erosion. So implement ensuring regulation as an example. Let's move to the last slide, please. And here, so you can click on the code on the screen to go on the platform we developed to present you what you can get from an ecosystem in terms of ecosystem services. What is the risk in terms of pressure you can add on an ecosystem? And you will also find a decision tree to help you to understand what I just explained to you, that it's all a local specific matter in terms of socio-environmental context. You cannot do every kind of restoration in every place. It's really dependent to each places. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Remy. I will share this link on the chat so everybody has access to it if they miss the QR code. Then now, we will complement the ecological perspective with the policy level. So Carol Martinez from MELPAN will outline the main policy frameworks guiding restoration in the Mediterranean. Carol, the ocean is yours.
Thank you very much, Patricia. Yes, I will provide you a quick overview of the key policy framework that are applicable in our beautiful region, and actually how restoration is already captured and constitute an obligation from a legal point of view. Next, please. So to do so, we will follow the pyramid, the legal pyramid from the international to the Mediterranean to the European level. And you will see actually that all the different legal policy level echoes each other since at the Mediterranean and European level, the key objectives are actually following the binding obligation that comes from the international level, and more specifically, the Global Biodiversity Framework that has been adopted a few years ago and that has a dedicated target. Next, please. So talking about this specific target, indeed, the new document of reference from a policy point of view at the international level that has been adopted in the frame of the Biodiversity Convention, I mean the Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework. This target too is definitely dedicated and focusing on restoration. So at the international level, all the parties, all the countries that have adopted this framework have committed actually to restore 30% of all degraded ecosystem, including coastal and marine ecosystem. And this with the ambition actually to provide, to implement effective restoration with the aim to enhance biodiversity and ecosystem function and services, ecological integrity and connectivity. So this is the key reference for the parties, for the countries, for all countries, and the key obligation to implement. And this objective, you will see, has been actually captured by the other policy level, and you will find again this target of 30%, particularly in the new nature restoration regulation. Next, please. But first, let's see what is happening in our Mediterranean region, and more specifically in the Barcelona Convention system. I use the term system because actually, in addition to the Barcelona Convention, a series of protocol and strategies have been adopted in order to implement the text of the Barcelona Convention in a sectorial way or specific way. So the question and the activities related to restoration have been already, I would say, mentioned, but indirectly in the Barcelona Convention, since this text actually is aiming and including obligation aiming at enhancing and rehabilitation of coastal and marine ecosystems. So at the time of the Barcelona Convention adoption, the word restoration was not used, but was implied already in the text of the convention. Then several protocols have been adopted in order to implement this convention, particularly the protocol related to special protected area and biodiversity. This one, adopted in 1995, explicitly include and target restoration, since it is naming, specifying the species recovery and the control of invasive species. So this protocol already goes deeper and is aiming at species recovery, which implies, as you can understand, restoration activities. The other very interesting protocol is the one related to coastal zones. And this one, adopted in 2028, make a clear reference to restoration of coastal ecosystem and habitats. It is in the text of this protocol. So you see, slowly but surely, the term restoration is becoming more clear, more obvious, more explicit in the different texts that the Mediterranean countries have adopted in the frame of the Barcelona Convention and for its translation implementation. The one related to pollution, adopted in 1996, doesn't make a direct reference, but it implies restoration, since it's using the word rehabilitation of degraded zone by pollution. And then comes, I would say, more close to us, two very interesting strategies that make a direct legal reference to restoration. I mean, the post-2020 SAP Bio, adopted in 2021, that is including explicit goals and targets for ecosystem restoration, and is as well specifying 42 actions aligned with the UN restoration decade. And the same for the other relevant strategy that has been adopted by the countries in the frame of the Barcelona Convention, adopted as well in 2021, the post-2020 MPA and OECM strategy. I don't know if everybody is clear about OECM. It means other effective conservation measures. And in this strategy, the restoration is integrated into the vision, the strategic pillars, and the implementation framework. So in the coming slide, I will show you how those different texts adopted at the Mediterranean level are making explicit or indirect reference. But for you to understand, in addition to the international level, at the Mediterranean level, and in the framework of the Barcelona Convention, the Barcelona Convention system, meaning the convention and its protocol, is already targeting restoration activities. So clearly, in signing, adopted this convention and protocols, the countries have already committed to implement restoration activities and programs. Next one. So this is extract of the SPA protocol that I mentioned, and you can see where the question of restoration is directly or indirectly included. And in the preamble, there is a clear reference to restoration, since the countries, the contracting parties, are committing to protect, restore the health and integrity of ecosystem. And then in the text itself of the protocol and the different article, there is some reference to the state of conservation and recovery. So this means this equals and implies restoration activities. Next one. The ICZM protocol, as I told you, is making a very clear reference to restoration. So it's actually bringing legal obligation. And there are two articles that makes definitely clear reference to restoration of coastal ecosystem and restoration of degraded coastal zones and rehabilitation of natural habitats. So here clearly, in adopting this protocol, the countries have committed to implement restoration activities. Next one. The post-2020 SABIO, the strategy, is as well including making references to restoration in its vision, its goal, since there is a dedicated goal, goal 3, to restore degraded marine and coastal ecosystem, and there is a dedicated target to implement restoration action in priority degraded habitat by 2030, the target 3.1. So here, there is no question, no doubt as well. There is a clear, I would say, commitment from the parties that have adopted this strategy to implement restoration activities and to follow these objectives. Next one. The next one shows you that beyond the adoption of text, when all countries are meeting at the conference of parties, there are decisions. And during the last conference of parties of the Barcelona Convention, there was one decision that is as well making a clear reference to restoration, the one related to the SPAMI network, so this special protected area of Mediterranean importance network that is existing in our region. And this decision is actually targeting the support to restoration of degraded marine and coastal ecosystem, aligning with the UN Decade of Ecosystem Restoration. So you see here the echo between the Mediterranean policy level and the international level. And in addition to this decision, at each conference of party, there is a ministerial declaration, and this one adopted in 2023 is as well making a clear reference, a clear commitment to halt degradation and to restore marine and coastal biodiversity, achieving 30% of effective conservation and management. So here, again, a clear commitment, a clear legal obligation to restore. Next one. So here, in addition to the Barcelona Convention system, you know, there is the Union for the Mediterranean. This is another regional organization bringing together all the Mediterranean countries. And this Union for the Mediterranean is as well adopting a specific program, actions, declaration. And in 2021, the Union for the Mediterranean Ministerial Declaration on Environment and Climate Action is as well making a clear reference to restoration, since it is supporting ecosystem restoration as part of the Mediterranean response to biodiversity loss and climate change. And the countries, through their ministers, have committed to align their activities with the UN Decade of Ecosystem Restoration, and they want to support this decade, and they commit to restore degraded ecosystem, and as well to integrate restoration into climate adaptation strategy. This makes the link with the former presentation, because most of the time restoration is as well connected with climate change adaptation strategies or activities. And again, from a policy point of view, the ministers in 2021 have clearly recognized the importance of restoring ecosystem, wetlands, marine ecosystem to achieve the objective of the global biodiversity framework. Again, a glimpse, a clear echo to the legal obligation existing at the international level. So you see how all the different policy frameworks are working together. What has been adopted at the international level can be found a bit later or sometime before, because actually in the Mediterranean region, we have been pioneer of targets and obligation adopted at the international level. But nevertheless, there is a game of echoes between the international and Mediterranean level. Next one. So now we will move to the European level. And as you may have heard, in 2024, last year, European Nature Restoration Regulation has been adopted. And the word regulation is very important because it means that it is compulsory. It's an obligation for the EU member states to implement the content of this regulation. So it's not a strategy, it's clear, it's like a special compulsory framework that is obliging the European member states to develop activities in terms of restoration. Next one. As you will see, actually, this regulation aiming at reversing ecosystem degradation to develop a comprehensive restoration framework, because actually it's not only targeting restoration within protected area, but as well beyond. It's very important because it's binding. There is no other way for the European countries to implement this new regulation. Let's see in few words what is the content of this regulation. Next one. Next, please. So you can see that actually at the European level, the ambition is quite high, since in addition to target, there is clear deadline. So according to this regulation, the European member states have to restore 30% of degraded ecosystem by 2030, then 60% by 2040, and then 90% by 2025. This is very ambitious. And as I mentioned, the aim is to rebuild a population of key species, to protect ecological interaction, and to restore natural process. And this as well to support sustainable economic activities and to as well support climate resilience in addition to supporting the implementation of other European strategy and policy documents. Next. So quickly, the obligation for the EU member states is to implement this European regulation to actually define and implement national restoration plan, and then to comply, to monitor the progress and to define specific goals. Next. So quickly, because you will have at your disposal all the presentation, but you can see that in addition to those very ambitious targets, this regulation is as well specifying very clear activities and very clear deadline for the member states, including the obligation to develop plans to make progress report in order to help actually to monitor the tangible and effective restoration of the ecosystem. We will go quickly to the other years and deadlines. Next, please. You can make a click actually, since I mentioned already the target for 2024 and 2050. Next. So for protected area managers, it means that they will have to be part of the very extensive consultation in order to define the national restoration plan, but at their level as well to implement those ambitious targets, defining at their own level measurable objectives and activities, and this engaging with the local stakeholders, because this is a key principle of this European regulation. These restoration activities have to be done with the relevant stakeholders. Next one. Next. So actually, in order to help our community of MPAs manager and stakeholders, we have actually articulated the content of this new European restoration regulation in a user-friendly note. You can find it on our website. It's available in French and in English. So please do not hesitate, but to keep in mind, restoration is not only a question of ecology, it's as well a legal issue. And now it is a compulsory a legal obligation. So for you to know that it is as well important and an obligation for your countries to implement restoration, and there is clear obligation and clear framework. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Carol. So thank you both, Remy and Carol, actually, for connecting ecological and policy dimensions for restoration. So now we will go before going to the case studies, we will do Q&A. So if you have any questions to both speakers, feel free to ask in the chat or raise the hand. And this is just some guidance of questions that we can discuss also. Yeah, so I will paste in the chat these discussion points, but feel free to to ask anything.
I think Remy's presentation was very clear and mine as well. I don't see any question.
Yeah, thank you all for the great presentation. Remy, I just had a question. I was wondering, you briefly showed us your Macrobios tools that you developed, like the kind of tree. And I was wondering if you how you developed it and where any stakeholder involved, and the management, MP management perspective, did you have feedback from them about? Do you know anyone that has used it or anything like this? I'm curious to know.
Yeah, we developed it in the frame on the Edge 2020 European project called Macobios, and we had a lot of workshop with stakeholders to have their feedback and also discuss with us of what we can provide, but also what we are building. So it's based on all the discussion we had, and what I wanted to raise using this tool is just to use a clear framework, because we always heard about restoration and that's it. I will do restoration, but it's mean nothing, just restoration. What you will do exactly, and it's key. But people don't really know often what they have actually in terms of ecosystems and in terms of socio-economic contexts which used and live nearby the ecosystems. So without this knowledge, you can't really appreciate what kind of restorative activity or activities are the best that you can implement in a place. So it's more like an educational tool to help people to stay with a clear framework on their mind, just to help them to go forward after that.
Thank you, Remy. Thank you for that. Question, are we good? We good? And I think maybe Patricia, Moise, yeah, please.
Moise?
Oui, bonjour.
Yes, hello.
First of all, thank you very much for both presentations. For the most technical presentation and the presentation by Carol on the international rules and regulations. I have a question. We are now working to create and manage new MPAs in the Mediterranean, hoping to achieve the 30-30 objective by 2030. And we're now talking about restoration. What is the link between the two processes? On the one hand, the creation and development of MPAs, and on the other, the restoration of sites. There are criteria in order to select sites to be restored. So what is the link between the two processes which are underway today? On the one hand, the creation and the management of MPAs, and on the other, the restoration of protected sites. So what is the link between the two processes in order to achieve the objectives? Thank you, Moise, for this very relevant question. Actually, the two of them are complementary. When you talk about restoration, in general, there are two main types of restoration: active restoration, where you have direct actions and voluntary actions to restore ecosystems, and passive restoration, indirect restoration. In general, passive restoration is made in marine protected areas because MPAs contribute to the protection and the restoration of ecosystem species. This is what has been captured very clearly by the European Restoration Regulation, which really identifies the two main approaches of restoration: active restoration on the one end and passive restoration on the other. The European framework is also interesting, and not just for Europe, but beyond the European borders, because it is very well structured. And according to this regulation, restoration is not just done in protected areas. You don't need to have a protected area to make restoration activities, but oftentimes these are privileged areas where there can be active or passive restoration, because even in MPAs, there can be active restoration processes. So the link is very strong between the two processes, because the two things are complementary. So there can be active restoration inside MPAs. I hope I have answered your question. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. As a manager, it is very important for us to have these answers, because that enables us to anticipate what we will have to do in the future when we have to manage our marine protected areas. We are Lagalit Archipelago in the north of Tunisia. This is our MPA. Okay, thank you. Let me add something. Up to 2023, the definition of the UN Decade for the Restoration of Ecosystems was different from the one that is adopted today. And it also included the protection of internal spaces, which is a bit complicated, because even from a semantic point of view, it seems quite logical to say, okay, protection can also be done for restoration. Now things are a bit different. So let's say that they have changed the definition. When you talk about protection actions in terms of passive restoration, you have to remember that you are talking about stopping any possible pressure that have led to the degradation of the ecosystem or ecosystems, which is very rarely the case in MPAs. MPAs, fully protecting the ecosystems, are totally different. So there are different types of MPAs. In passive restoration, there can be actions like improvement of water quality or creation of water treatment plants, because in that case, you're gonna have the recolonization of rocks, for example. So if you are in a degraded ecosystem and you can intervene, then you talk about restoration. Whereas if you want to engage your stakeholders and if you want to work on passive restoration, you can work in an MPA. Everything can be mixed. But again, you always have to remember what stakeholders you have in your area that you want to restore, because they are key for restoration. Thank you. Thank you. When we talk about passive and active restoration, I remember that you have to stop pressure even with a passive restoration, because otherwise everything will be useless. So you need to stop pressures in both cases, both for active and passive restoration. Restoration objectives are very ambitious, but certainly most countries will try and implement restoration actions through MPAs, which means that our role will be crucial. And so you are going to be involved. So countries are going to have an action plan in terms of restoration objectives. I'm talking about European countries also in the framework of the Barcelona Convention. And marine protected areas will play a very important role because they will be engaged and they can provide the support in order to achieve these ambitious objectives. Between active and passive restoration, I totally agree on what you said. When you restore a degraded ecosystem, it's like restoring a house after a car, after an accident, maybe after the roof has collapsed. Today, there are many restoration activities in nature. And where you start repainting the house rather than rebuilding the roof, which in some cases is very logical. But when you talk about nature, especially if you talk about restoring underwater, it is very difficult. So you need to stop pressure first. And then restore internally. So active restoration if nature cannot restore itself on its own, because this is where man has to intervene. We are there to repair nature, but also an ecosystem can repair on its own. This is its resilience. So let's not forget about that, and let's not forget that we don't have big amounts of money. So it's up to us. We can limit some practices, we can limit fishing, we can reduce pollution, but I think we have to start focusing on the main priority actions first, and also those that are cheaper. Thank you everyone. So thank you for this first part of the session. I think that the presentations of the case studies will be very interesting. Maybe now you can just slowly introduce yourself and just say who you are and where you work before continuing with the case studies. So let's go very quickly, and I'll try not to forget anyone. So just briefly introduce yourself, who you are and where you work, okay? Ali Badreddin, you can start. Ali Badreddin.
Hello,
Ali Badreddin.
everyone. Merci, Suzanne. Bonjour, good everyone. So my name is Ali Badreddin. I am the manager of Tier Coast Nature Reserve. So the situation of restoration, conservation, protection, all these kind of things are new for Lebanon, and we are trying our best. And I think this training will be very perfect and very familiar as always. And hope to see you very soon. And I'm so happy to be there. So thank you.
Merci Ali. Christina Diamantopoulou.
Hi everyone, I'm really happy to be here today. Thank you so much for the invite.
Can you tell us, Christina, where you come from?
I am originally from Greece, but I work in Cyprus now, work in Lara Toxeftra Territorial Reserve. We are responsible with my team with making the management plan.
Thank you, Christina. David Martinez.
Hello, everyone. I'm David Martinez, the manager director of the Albufera des Grau Natural Park in Balearic Island in Menorca, and we have not any examples of restoration, but we are interested in see how it's working in another MPAs to learn about it.
Thank you, David. Gianfranco.
Hi everyone, I am Gianfranco. I'm from Sicily in Italy, and I work in Plemmiro Marine Protected Area. We stay in the southern part of Sicily. So really happy to can understand and to learn something from you all.
Thank you. Julia?
Hi everyone, I'm Giulia Visconti by Capo Milazzo MPA. I'm director of MPA. I'm very happy to work with us, you, and I think that these training courses are very, very interesting. Thank you.
Thank you, Julia. Labrina?
Hello everyone, I am Labrina Vedina from Albania. I'm biologist in a regional protected area of Flora. This training is very important for me because I am a monitoring specialist for two marine parks in Albania. One is National Park Karaburun-Sazan and Porto Palermo Natural Park. It's very, very important, this restoration for other.
Labrina.
Thank
Then
you.
MSI, and I wonder, j'ai MSI, je pense que c'est peut-être Amel.
Salut. Yes, it's me. Hello. Hello, everyone. I have a problem with my camera. I am Ermen Dedni. I am the director of the MPA of Meshgoun that has recently been created in Algeria. Hello, everyone. Happy to be here. Moes? Hello. I also have the problem because I cannot switch on my camera. Sorry about that. But it's not a problem because I already know many of you. Many of you know me. And I'll meet the others that I don't know in Spain. So I'm Moaz, I'm project coordinator at Mediterranean Action Nature, which is a co-manager together with APAL in Tunisia, in charge of the creation of MPAs in Tunisia. So we're working together with APAL. It's an NGO working with a public body. And we are managing the Lagalit archipelago, which is a SPAMI. It is an isolated island, but there are many attractions. We have had a 5-year fund by MedFund for this MPA. So now we are entering a consolidation phase up to 2030. We are also updating the management plan for the island. It is already the third management plan for this island. We don't have yet restoration activities, and we're here in order to learn from other people and see other examples. Hopefully, they will inspire us to implement practical restoration activities in our place. So that we can make a step ahead for the good management and the good governance of our site. So hopefully this way we can contribute to the global objective of MPA management throughout the Mediterranean in order to achieve the 3030 ambitious goal. Sorry if I was too long. Mulul? Hello, everyone. I am from Algeria. I am marine biologist. I am a consultant for the young MPA of Rejdun at the extreme west of Algeria. It is a very young MPA, and therefore we're now building the whole system, and we are building our capacity. in order to plan future activities for these MPAs. So this is why we're very interested in being here with you and share with all other Mediterranean colleagues restoration techniques. We are located in the south of the Mediterranean, and sometimes we have a different approach, but it is always very interesting to share with you all what there can be and what we can use, and maybe there's new things that can inspire us. Hello, everyone. I am Najib from Algeria. I am from the Association Écologie Sans Frontières. This is a scientific association which is co-managing the MPA of Taza. We don't have a lot of experience on restoration. We have worked a lot on coastal and rural restoration. We implemented a small restoration project for coastal dunes in a wetland, which is a Ramsar site. It is a coastal area where we worked on mechanical and biological fixing of dunes. Very happy to be here and to build my capacities. Thank you for accepting me. Hans? Hans, hopefully I didn't mispronounce your name.
Hi everyone, Ons Benzati, MPA Ranger, marine biologist. I'm working with AKDDCL. The name of the ONG is very long. So I'm working for the northern islets of Kerkena Island. I'm from Tunisia, and I'm happy to be with you all.
Thank you, Ons. Rani? Rani, je sais pas. Sinon, on va passer à Saul.
Hello everyone. Can you hear me?
Merci. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I'm sorry. I think something happened with the microphone. Anyways, it's good to see all of you. I'm Ranim from Lebanon. I'm a marine biologist. I work with the Abbasi Coast Nature Reserve. It's the newest marine protected area in Lebanon, actually. And we're quite young. This is going to be a very, very important experience for us because we look forward to a lot of restoration projects, especially that we have one of the last prominent coastal dunes in Lebanon. So it's very important to work on this. We don't have a lot of data yet because we're quite a bit young. So we're looking forward to learning a lot about this approach. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ranim. Saul?
Hi all, thank you for your invitation and for this great opportunity. My name is Saul. I'm responsible for monitoring activities in Miramar MPA, and we are already conducting and we already conducted some restoration actions regarding marine forest and mollusks like Pinna nobilis. So thank you for this opportunity and hope to see you soon in the field.
Thank you, Saul. And then Sefidi? Je ne t'entends pas. Tu dois avoir le son coupé. On ne t'entend pas, Sefidi.
Tu as le micro coupé.
Your mic is
Je
off.
m'excuse. Voilà, c'est
Your
bon.
mic is off.
Oui. Bonjour à tous.
Hello
Merci beaucoup pour
everyone.
l'invitation.
Thank you for accepting me.
Je suis Saifeddine Triki, je
I
suis de
am
la
Sefedina Triki.
Je suis l'un des éco-gardes au sein de
I
l'association Notre
am
Grand Bleu,
a ranger at the
et
Association Notre
co-gestionnaire
Grand Bleu,
dans
which
l'MCP
is
Curiat.
a
On a fait
co-manager of the
des activités
MCPA
de
of
restauration
Curiata
écologique
Islands.
et je
We
suis
are
très
dealing
heureux
on ecological
aujourd'hui
restoration,
de participer à cette formation
and
et
I'm very happy
j'espère
to
de
be
vous
here in
voir
this
très
training
bientôt.
today, and hopefully see you very soon.
Tina Sioten?
Sina?
Hi, everybody. I'm Tina from Croatia.
from public institution nature of Shubenacadie County. So we are managing more than 20 MPAs, and we are managing not only the marine protected area, but on the land. And in Croatia, the restoration is mainly, there are some knowledge from the land restoration, but the marine protected areas didn't do much about those activities. So I'm very happy to be with you all and to participate in this training. Thank you.
Thank you, Tina. And the last one is Well. I haven't forgotten anyone.
Yeah, good enough. Hi, everyone. This is Wael from NDACT. We are co-managers of the Palm Island Nature Reserve. We have some experience in restoration, mainly passive restoration. And we're looking forward to be learning from this training. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. So Patricia, I give you the floor again.
Thank you. Thank you all for the introductions. It was great to get to know you a bit better. And if you can share the screen, Emily, so we can continue with the participants' presentations. Yes, thank you very much. So go to the next slide. Yes, and I will pass by actually these ones because we already had a discussion on this. So we will go, no, we'll go first and before, you're going too fast. Yes, before that one. So before, please, before, back. Okay, there, yeah, perfect. So now we are going to the participant sharing wire restoration with some examples from participants. And for participants who share their experience of why restoration matters in the local context, and everyone has 6 minutes to present their site, key pressures, and restoration motivations. And we will start with group 4. Are you ready? Julia, we already put your presentation there, so you don't need to share the screen. So Giulia Visconti from MPA of Cabo Milazzo in Italy, and later we will go with the group 2, Cristina Diamantopoulou from Toxeftra Total Reserve in Cyprus. And we have also group 1 and 3, who we don't have the presentations there, but if you have them, then you can share them, or just, talking about your MPA, we would like to hear your experience. Okay, so let's start with Julia. Are you ready? Here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm here. Okay. I'll be quick to tell you about my MPA. It's youngest MPA in Italy, in Sicily. Milazzo is a very small MPA, about 15.5 kilometers. The creation management public body is contact with the institution. It was established in 2018. And the governance is constituted by a consortium composed by University of Messina, the municipality of Milazzo, the city of Milazzo, and Mare Vivo. Mare Vivo is an ONG, national ONG. About the MPA, the MPA have a small educational center today. Some small info points around the MPA, some infrastructure of as a mooring camp. I don't know. This is some infrastructure that against the anchoring, and so is the one project about restoring our habitats. The objectives and missions. We have the same objective and missions goals about the preserve and conservation of marine habitat as biodiversity, promote and sustainable use of fisheries or tourism resources, restore sensitive marine and coastal habitats, to support scientific studies. Another main goal of our MPA is environmental education. We have several projects of educational environment, followed by schools and several stakeholder categories. Main challenge and pressure. We have the common pressure about in the MPA, as recreative fishing is a challenge, very, very important. We have a pressure by seasonal tourism very strongly. And we have some issues about marine litter, very, very important. Management capacities. In the context of the socio-economic territorial status, we have a wide framework with stakeholder. The next slide, please. Okay, we have the major priority habitats in the MPA as Posidonia seagrass, rocky reef, and overall coralligenous reef, with a fish community. Oh, sorry. Okay, there are some. Sorry. Okay. Is the gast, okay. We have many species, priority species about fish, mollusk, and coral as soft and dark hard coral. So we have a very hotspot of biodiversity in MPA. So we have a wide scientific convention with universities and other institutions, national, regional, and local institutions to support scientific studies. Why restoring? Because we have several anthropic pressures, as fishing, waste, or marine litter, and we have some problem with anchoring and over tourism. So we have observed some degradation of Posidonia beds and coral mortalities in the last year. With the management plan, we have to plan. We plan percorso. I'm sorry, I'm busy. Okay, we have some objective to plan restore activities to involve with involvement of stakeholders, some stakeholders as fishermen or scuba diving. The last slide, please. Okay, specific objectives are restore and protect Posidonia oceanica, coralligenous habitat, and overall to produce a plan of management plan of resilience by the stakeholder, to reducing local pressure on MPA. Okay. So the MPA acts as several coordination platform, scientific with national, regional, and local institution, as universities or regional departments of environment or local association. And another coordination platform with tourism through the engagement of restoration and hosts in the Milazzo city. Okay, the consortium will be plan is its regulation maybe in 2026 to finalize this plan of MPA. In this image, you have the plan of zonization of the MPA with 4 levels of conservation as a full no-take area in red, and 2 special area, a B special area of preservation and B special area without fishing. So it's very important to define the plan of the use of resource and natural resource and fishing activities. This is the issues, the strong issues. So I don't know if you want to take some question. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we will leave it for the end to have the discussion. And we will go for now, Christina. Are you ready from Toxefta Reserve in Cyprus? Are you ready?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's nice to go from a fairly new MPA to a pretty old one, because Lara Toxefta has been around for around 35 years. It's actually called Lara Toxefta Turtle Reserve, and it has to do with turtle conservation. There are 2 species of turtles in the area that they nest there, Caretta caretta and Heloniamidas, so loggerhead turtle and green turtle, and it's in the southwest of the Republic of Cyprus. In total, it's 7.21 square kilometers, but 6 of them are marine. The year of classification was in 1989, that it became a marine reserve, and it's actually the first MPA that it was established in the island. And then in 2011 and 2013, it became a SPAMI, which is a specially protected area of Mediterranean importance. And also the wider area, which is called the Camas Peninsula, it's included in the Natura 2000 network. The governing body of the area is the Department of Fisheries and Marine Research, which is a governmental entity. So the government kind of has control over the area. But there are several NGOs that they are involved, as well as my entity. Metrax is mainly responsible for leading the turtle conservation efforts, and they try to limit access to the nests by placing cages on top of them, and they do some monitoring as well. And then there is Teresipria that it leads educational programs, and they actually bring students from all around the world to educate them on turtle conservation. And then there is my entity, MERLab, which we are private, but we are responsible for creating the management plan of the area by July 2026, and we are actually working together with Medban to do this. There are not many facilities on the beach. It's a pretty secluded place. It's hard to get there by car, but there are some information kiosks there so that the tourists can educate themselves. The objective is pretty straightforward, is to protect the nesting sites of the turtle species. But with the new management plan that we're making now, we want to include more priority habitats, such as the Posidonia meadows in the area or the sand dunes. And we want to mitigate pressures like the increased tourism and the climate change that we already see some adverse effects. The main challenges are tourism, because maybe it's getting visited by 250,000 visitors per year, which is quite a lot. Climate change, because it affects the sex rate of the turtles. When you have rising temperatures, then you have more females being born. And then you also have some boat trespassing and illegal fishing in the area. But this is decreasing because the DFMR has now rangers in the area that they make sure that the laws are being followed. And like Julia, we don't really have, or at least not until now, we didn't have a concrete management plan of the area. Can we go to the next slide, please? So the Lara-Toxephthra Reserve has a variety of habitats. You have Posidonia beds, sand dunes, and extensive rocky substrates, especially around the cliffs and the caves. There are sea cliffs that they have cracks and small caves, and we think that possibly those serve as places for Mediterranean monk seals to rest and to reproduce. In Lara-Toxephthra, the Posidonia meadows cover 6.4 hectares, and they come as close to the shore as 1 meter. And in the greater Acamas area, the reefs that were once covered by Cystocera sensulata species, which is this brown algae that you can see in the picture, are now barren because we have this invasive urchin, which is called Diadema setosum, and we think that it's kind of eating all the macroalgae of the reefs. So we have observed the gradual degradation of seagrass meadows and reef macroalgae, and this is intensified by the rising sea temperatures and climate change. So these impacts threaten the stability of the whole ecosystem and the protection of the turtles in Lara-Toxephthra through the web food dynamics. The management plan is currently being created, and it aims to protect priority habitats, to regulate human activities, ensure climate change adaptation, and establish more participatory governance, whereas now we only have the DFMR taking care of everything, to secure the long-term conservation and resilience of the MPAs, unique marine ecosystems and species. Can we go to the next one? So the declining health of the reef and Posidonia habitats is alarming. The Caretta caretta feeds on fish, and the Chelonia midas feeds directly on Posidonia. So the decreasing fish population and Posidonia coverage will result in limitation of food resources for both species. So, and moreover, the rising global temperatures affect turtle sex rate ratio, and the increasing touristic activity potentially trigger avoidance behaviors in turtles. So right now we're not actually doing any restoration in the area, but what we could be doing is to restore and protect Posidonia oceanica meadows with passive and possibly also active restoration. We are working with MER, doing active restoration of Posidonia, but not in that area yet. To repopulate degraded reef areas with Cystocera, and we can do active restoration there. We can remove the sea urchins and try to transplant the macroalgae. We doing assessment and modeling of the impacts that climate change will have on the nesting beaches. And we are monitoring sex rate ratio. This is more research and monitoring. And we want to take measures to really mitigate the touristic activity. To end, Lara-Toxephthra is a 35-year-old marine reserve that made history in Cyprus, but it needs to move a little bit further than just completing its national obligations that are due to laws. We need to start planning ecological restoration and to make sure that these turtles are happy in the long term. And I think That's it from me.
Thank you so much, Christina. So go back. No, before we go to the discussion, does the other groups they have a presentation or they want to share to us now? If not, we can probably give the opportunity in the next sessions. We can, but it will be, yeah, if you have it, it will be ideal if you were to share now.
Yeah, don't worry.
Okay, then yes, we can, we can leave for the next sessions if you are okay with that.
Patty,
Yes, okay, yeah, Ali.
listen, if there is no opportunity in the next session, I have a presentation already ready to share. But the idea, I didn't follow the format presentation that you sent us. Okay?
Okay.
If not, I will move it for the next session. It's better, as you want, huh? For me, I am ready. So it depends on your time and how you want to deal with it. Okay?
Yeah, but you don't have the PowerPoint presentation, right?
I have it. I have it now.
Okay, if you have it, yes, it's okay for you, Susan. We can, yeah. So yes, please share the screen, and later you can send over by email. That's fine.
And Ali, just checking, you said you didn't follow a template. It doesn't mean you have 52 slides, yeah?
No.
Okay, just try to solve these questions.
First, let me share some.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. It will be fast. It will be fast.
Mm-hmm.
Let me organize first myself because there is a lot of windows open here. Now, where's the presentation? Yeah, it's here.
You have the presentation. If you can put it in full screen.
Can you see my presentation, no?
Yes. And ideally, if you can show the full screen. Yeah, that's perfect. Yes, thank you.
Perfect. Okay. So, as I said before, my name is Ali Badreddin. I am the manager of Tirkos Nature Reserve. It is a reserve in Lebanon, in the south of Lebanon, declared in 1998. The superficie of the reserve is 125 kilometers square of land sea and 3.8 kilometers square of land. And the reserve is divided into 4 zones: a touristic zone open to everyone, a conservative zone and scientific zone totally closed, and an agricultural zone open just for with the authorization of the reserve and the municipality for some, let's say, security reason. And of course, the marine zone, it is totally closed without any activities. No fishing, no jet ski, no touristic boat, nothing at all. So we are doing every day, patrolling system on the sea and on the land. So for the sea, we are totally closed from 0 to 500 meter offshore. And this is in general our reserve. Yeah, and here you can see a lot of things what we are doing. So we are doing a lot of activity concerning awareness, protection, handmade training, a lot of session, engagement of local stakeholders, a lot of visit. We are focusing a lot on sea turtle, both the green one and the caretta. Carettas are coming and nesting in our sandy beach. And one important part is that Tir Coast Nature Reserve is the longest remaining sandy beach in Lebanon. So we are 80% of rocky coast in Lebanon in general. So this is why the turtle like this, in fact, this MPA. And of course, we love them. So we are sharing this kind of chemistry between us. So they are coming to us. And we have also sand dunes, yes, of course. And we have an important archaeological site in our reserve. We are talking about natural spring water that they are coming from natural pressure and they are giving us a freshwater ecosystem. So imagine freshwater ecosystem, freshwater ecosystem and land sea ecosystem. They are far like 10 meter or 100 meter maximum. So look at the biodiversity that you can have there. So We have many designation. We are designated Ramsar site in 1999. We are a important bird area, ongoing the designation. We are SPAMI since 2012. Our sand dunes are classified as Corin. Also, we have, as I said before, the spring freshwater they have an historical and archaeological importance, and they are designated as national heritage by the Ministry of Culture. And we are working to be designated as a green list. This is all this because of all our marine habitat, terrestrial habitat, marine biodiversity, terrestrial biodiversity that we have. Some of them are endangered, critical endangered, endemic for Lebanon and for the Mediterranean in general. And also we have new species for science undergoing to discover. Of course, as all the MPA, we have a lot of problem, especially the big number of tourists that are coming in our MPA, especially during summer. Not in this period, difficult period of, what is happening in the southeastern Mediterranean, but in general before, we are talking about 1 million visitors per year in general. And we are trying to deal with all these kind of visitors to, let's say, reduce their big impact. Yeah, we have the problem of marine litter. We still have the problem, let's say, of some threats like horses, like vehicles on the coast. But in general, with our effective patrolling, we are trying to stop everything. And we have also the big problem of, climate change, seawater temperature increase, the big problem of, let's say, algal toxic bloom, invasive species. This is so important. And a small parenthesis to talk about the diadema cetosome. You should eradicate it. I think Christina was talking about it. It is very dangerous. We have it, and we cannot control it. It is like it's taking a lot of, as I can say, like it's blooming everywhere. And also we have other like invasive species so dangerous. Yeah, we are here. It's like the main stakeholders that we have. Of course, we are working with divers, farmers, national MPA. We have connection with other MPA. So we are always working under the umbrella of the Ministry of Environment. We have a very important and good relation with the municipality of Tir. This is helping us a lot with involving rules and law l'exécution of law and regulation. And for the patrolling, human resources, financial resources, we have this kind of link and very effective link with the municipality. And of course, we are working with the volunteer. We are trying to train people, and also school, university with national researcher, and also universities. Here how we engage in fact local community. We are doing a lot of campaign. We are working on a lot of with every stakeholders with his work. We are trying to take from him and give him also opportunity to work with us. Also here for the school visit, we are doing, as I said before, many school visit, many training sessions. And also, the city of Tir is like very characterized by its historical importance. We have the city in the land and we have the city underwater. So we are trying to do like some ecotourism activities related with what is happening under the sea. Yeah, here is a handmade training. We are always thinking about the gender equity, empowerment of women to work with us and to create this kind of opportunity and creativity and to launch this dynamic and activity in the city in general. And we are always there to support any, let's say, accident, environmental accident, political accident with the stakeholders. So the reserve is an opportunity for stakeholders. This is what one of the main characteristics of Tir Coast Nature Reserve in general. It is made by the local stakeholders, and the stakeholders take this reserve as one of their home, if I can say it. Yeah, here we are thinking about ecotourism a lot, especially related with sea turtle. And concerning the restoration, just to say that for us, the restoration action are so important because under our new management plan, we put like some activity related with restoration of sand dunes and some flower, we call it Procratium, and also the restoration of Simodosia that we have it in our reserve, and Cystosera. But of course, we don't we are not expert on the techniques in general, and restoration need like more follow up and more technique, and this is the role of the training, I think, and give us this kind of technique and apply it. It's up to us after to apply it and find, of course, budget to do it. And that's it. And thank you.
Thank you so much, Ali, for this.
It was fast, huh?
You
It was good, it was fast.
Yes. And you tackled all the points, I think, so that's fine. I was thinking, if you're going to talk about restoration initiatives, yes, okay, at the end. So good, fantastic.
Yeah, in fact, we don't have any restoration initiative until
you
now.
don't have yet,
So,
but you're
yeah.
planning, no?
But yeah, it's like planning, you know. And we
and
yeah, and we take like a training with the Sparak with our dear Saul. Hello, my dear Saul. And about, you know, restoration of Pina Nobilis. But unfortunately, Patty, we should say it. So restoration need a lot of money, need a lot of budget, and you need to prioritize your thinking about this kind of activity, and you need the team to do it, and it is not something very easy. But the first step is to be trained on some criteria, policies, technique, governance, how to deal with it with the national MPA, Mediterranean MPA, and after we will see what is happening.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's why we are all here. And actually, we have a session on funding, so we will tackle this as well.
Hi, Ali.
Hi, Sal. Miss you.
So we have one presentation left. I don't know if it's ready. Who is going to present? If not, we go through the questions because I saw a lot of questions in the chat.
Yeah, there was a few questions, and don't worry, there will be opportunity for presentation in the next session. Often they will have a different focus. Today was, you know, the focus was why restoration, but there will be opportunity to present your MPA in the other session with another kind of, you know, focus, but it's just to go through and to help know each other before the face-to-face. So thank you, all of you that did a presentation today at short notice, and also, you know, to jump in it, and don't worry for those that you haven't missed on anything, and there will be more opportunity to present if you wish for in the next session. The floor on the question, there was a question on the number of visitors.
Yeah, there were several questions actually from David Martinez. He asked a question to Julia. I think she answered on the chat, but I don't know if you want to say it loud, your questions. You had two questions, no, actually also to Christina. So maybe would you like to say it or I read them? David? Yeah.
Yes, it's about that kind of question. What is the regulator? I saw now the answer, and okay, thank you. Yes, is that because it's more general, no? The not be regulated is anchoring and mooring at buoys. Okay, yes, is that the question? The other was the visitors. It's a general question, I think, of every natural park. How do you count visitors? Because it's very difficult. I'm interested in that question.
I actually didn't know where the source of this number was. I checked it really quick in Google now. It's from the Ministry of Tourism, this information, and I think basically because the area is so secluded, most people they visit with some safari cars that they are 4x4. So if you can ask these tourism operators how many people go there by day or how much money they earn per year, maybe you can kind of like trace it, because all of the safari cars they go through the area. It's part of their route, so you know that they've been there. It's a specifics to this area. I don't know if it's applicable to every area, but I think this is how they did it, and that's how the ministry has this information.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so do you have any more questions?
I have a small question, or like a bit of a general question, if it's okay.
Yeah, sure.
So this question was brought upon by, I think, Christina. She mentioned something about how climate change is affecting the turtle sex, if I'm not wrong, more females than males because of the greater temperatures. And it brought upon the question of how do we deal with something? How do we try to restore something where we do not have any control on, we cannot remove the pressure, the original pressure. So in Christina's case, it's the turtles. Even for Abbasiyya and Sur, it's also the turtles. But we can also talk about the establishment of invasive species in some cases where it's very hard to control and stop due to climate change. So what is the solution in this kind of scenario?
I'm not quite sure. I think in Indonesia or something like this, I've heard that they increase shading. So if you put the protective cage, maybe you can also put some kind of reflective fabric on top of it so that it doesn't get heated this much. But I'm not exactly quite sure how this works because it cannot be too low either because then they don't hatch. So I'm not sure. I've heard that you can do some things, but I'm not sure if it works, if it actually works.
Thank you.
Yes, no, it's a great question that you are asking, no? And it is very difficult to tackle all these pressures, no? But at least if you can tackle most of them or the main ones, no? So in the case of turtles, a part of the climate change, there is the bycatch. There are other impacts, no? That you to over tourism, so you can tackle also all these impacts. Doing also, I know, for example, the oceanographic of Valencia, they do a lot of recovery of turtles with the fishers, and they also do hatching and they release the turtles. So they are, yeah, many ways depending on the species, of course, no, and the pressures that they're facing.
If I may, more in general, about this very interesting question is about what can we do in near future, and there is two answers to that. The first is we have to anticipate what the climate change will do in our set of species and ecosystem in general, and some parts can't be safe. Sometimes it's a shame to say that, but it's wasting money to try to save something that it's already doomed, and we have to accept that. But the positive way to think about that is that by increasing the health status of an ecosystem, we help it to increase its resilience potential, including to climate change effects. So we need to put forward let's say, the ecological condition of our ecosystems in general to let them the time to adapt to climate change effects.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's just a remark. It's not a question on the turtles. What can we do for turtles and for climate change? The turtle is already making restoration for a few years. Turtles have been moving from one side of the Mediterranean to the other side of the Mediterranean. So they are changing the nesting sites. They are going more up north. Over the past 30 years, they have been going up north. So the turtles have been changing their strategy now to nest. Also, it is important to carry out regular monitoring in nesting sites so that we can make interventions and we can put a remedy to the problem, even with artificial nests. But the best tool now is to protect because there are many pressures on turtles today. It is first and foremost better to protect rather than to carry out restoration measures, which are more expensive than protection measures. So we have to stick to the time given. So can you put your camera on so that we can all take a picture, because it is important that we finish at 5 o'clock, and please switch on the camera. Yeah, just wanted to say that it is important to choose priorities, and it is important, first and foremost, to choose what we need to restore. To me, the marine turtle is not a priority in the Mediterranean because it is very expensive, and the restoration of marine turtles is sometimes too much expensive. And to me, mitigation actions are the solution to climate change. That's it. That's it. Very fast. Okay. We have to take the picture now because we have to finish at 5 o'clock. So please switch on your camera. Switch on your camera.